Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. In today's video, I'm sharing how to analyze a 八字 chart if your daily master is a young earth, called Wu in Chinese, born in the spring season. Young earth represents the ground we stand on or hills or mountains. They're very solid and steady and super trustworthy and reliable. In addition, Earth represents this ever-encompassing, absorbent type of material. It takes in all these nutrients from nature and produce like grains or fruit that feed all kinds of life forms. So that's kind of the beauty and strength of a young Earth person. They're solid, they're grounded, very trustworthy and reliable, especially when they go through turmoils or stressful times in life. They have this high level of tolerance for stress, and they will just calmly, methodically cope with the issues at hand versus being super emotionally stressed or chaotic. So that is the high level strength of a young earth person. But the other side of the coin is they maybe not be as expressive. They like to hold things in rather than like a fire type of personality, like to give and express themselves. No. So they can be perceived as boring or maybe not romantic. So that's just the other side of the coin. Or compared to a Yin Wood person who's super adaptable in the moment and change with the environment, young earth or the earth type of people are more steady. They don't like to change. They like predictability. I'll give you a real life example. I have a family member whose daily master is not a young earth, but in his chart, there are 4 players in his chart that are all earth type. So he also, in that case, that person also have the same earth related personalities. So even to this day, I'm still surprised why he wouldn't try something new at the restaurant. Every single time he'll just order the same dish because he likes being stable and unchanged. So that just kind of give you some feelings or explanations of earth type, especially young earth type person. But today's episode is about spring-born young earth. Spring's dominant 5 element is wood, and we all know the relationship between wood and earth. Because wood suppresses earth, right? It actually makes the earth a little loose because the rooting from a tree. That's why, relatively speaking, spring-born young earth people are more flexible in a way. They still have the ingrained, like solid, grounded personality. It just compared to other season-born young earth people, they're more flexible and adaptable in nature. In addition, they are very ambitious and purpose-driven. They do like to achieve certain accomplishments in life. So going back to how to analyze this 八字 chart, we know that the point of existence for this young earth is about turning nutrients into something super useful. It gives life. So the answer is, how do we identify the remaining of this 八字 chart to create this perfect environment so that this young earth can do its job? So think about it. If it's like super, like winter time, super cold and rainy and wet, or frozen earth, it is not able to give life, right? Or on the contrast, in the summertime, it's too dry and hot, kind of a deserty environment without any moisture from the rain. It also is unable to give life. That just kind of give you 2 extremes to think about the ideal environment for this young earth to thrive in. It really likes a balanced, the key word is balance, like a balanced warmth, enough sun, like a young fire in the chart. Also a mixture of this moisture in the air, like a right amount of rain to moisture and make this earth nutrient enough to do its job. And in addition of this balancing of warmth and wetness, it also likes the right type of thickness and density. Because if the earth is so thick and dense, it's not able to produce life. That's why it kind of likes the help from a young wood to root in a solid earth and make the earth a little loose to make it useful. And the same situation, but if the earth is too thin, uh, or it's not solid enough, right? When the wind blows, you're just gonna blow the dirt everywhere, and it's very hard for plant to root in a loose earth like that. So it doesn't like it to be super solid or super loose. So you can see the requirement is actually quite high for a young earth person to have a good Bazi chart. So in that case, if your position number 6 in your chart looks like Yin or Mao, those are Yang Wood and Yin Wood months, so February or March born. The external environment, this is still kind of early spring. It's already quite wet and cold. That's why the number one favorable element will be a young fire. It warms the early spring season for this earth to be useful. And the secondary favorable element is this young wood. Because your position number 6 has either a young wood or yin wood base here, if on the top row you have another young wood appearing, that's the right amount of useful wood to make the earth kind of change it from the frozen, hard, solid earth in the kind of December, January timeframe, right? You need that earth to loosen you need that wood to loosen the earth to make it useful. And last but not least is this yin water. Yin water is kind of this gentle rain. It keeps on moisturizing it. But again, because the foundational tone of this February, March time is fairly wet. So that's why yang fire is number one and yin water is kind of not as important. And before I move on to the April birth month, I also want to mention why the other version of this 5 element is not as ideal. For example, why wouldn't you use yin fire versus why would you say I like yang fire more? Because yin fire is kind of like this candlelight or moonlight. It's this soft glow, calming warmth. It's not as effective as this bright sun, yang fire, warming up the environment. But with that said, if your Bazi chart doesn't have this yang fire anywhere, don't be discouraged, because even though yin fire is not as effective as warming up the environment, but if you have yin fire here, let's say, and then both those positions have a strong fire type of earthy branch supporting a yin fire, that's still a good solution to warm up the environment. The same thing here. Why is yang wood preferred? Because it is the most effective in loosening up the solid earth. Like yin wood, like a little plant or flower, it can still do it, but it doesn't do it as effective as a rooting system from a big tree. But even with that said, if you don't have a yang wood in your chart, maybe this yin wood month, but you have a bunch of them, the quantity is quite big. The quantity will still be large enough to achieve its purpose, and that's still fairly good Bazi chart. And the same thing, why is yin water preferred over yang water? Because yin water is like a rain, it's softer, gentle. Yang water is a big gush of rushing river. It actually runs the risk of dissolve all of this earth and make it useless. So that's kind of how we analyze the finer difference between the yin and yang of favorable element. But last month of spring is April. This is the young earth. If your position number 6 looks like this, called Chen in Chinese. This month you can see the 3 favorable elements are the same. It's just the ranking of order is a little different, because yang Earth month, the main dominant chi for this is still Earth. So your number one risk is this is a too much solid and concentrated Earth in this birth month. That's why your number one is switch from fire to wood, because wood does the job of loosening up the solid Earth. And then the secondary is the same. I need this bright sun to warm up the environment. And then the same thing, like last one is yin water to moisturize make the earth moist, make it useful. But before I leave you guys, I want to emphasize this kind of a tips of fine-tuning a person's 八字, because we know the 4 seasons, each season has a dominant 5 element, right? Spring is very wood heavy, summer is fire heavy, fall is metal heavy, and winter is water heavy. But then you're like, there are 5 elements. What about earth? Earth has a very unique strength buried underneath the ending of each season, the transitioning season. So after this young earth month, the next solar term will be beginning of summer. So the 18 days before each of the 4 beginnings of the season, solar term, that is when Earth is the strongest in its chi, or like the strength. So in this example, if your birth month is the same Chen, which is April, but look at your specific birthday. If it falls within 18 days before the next solar term of beginning of summer, that is, I would say your 八字 is actually needing this yang wood more, because you have this higher tendency of a too condensed and solid earth. In contrast, if your birth month is the same yang earth Chen, but it actually falls outside of this time window, then your risk of having too much earth is less. So that's how we kind of have a fine-tuned look into individuals' 八字 chart. And next episode, I'll share a few case studies to further illustrate today's point. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.